Alright, so this video is going to go through the chapter 6-1 practice quiz. So I'll have this loaded for you. At the end of it, there are the answers, and we can go through this together. And as a matter of fact, for 5, unless I'm thinking through stuff funny, I'm going to say it's E. Okay, I'm going to... To me, they both could work. I don't know. But I'm going to put that there and save that so I remember when I upload this for you guys. Because I was working these problems. I'm like, I think E's a better answer, even though I think the book gave me C. Or wherever I found it. I think it was an AP style question. Anyway, so we've got our class point. Point has my X and my Y private variables. So you've got a constructor point where these are set to 0, and you've got a constructor where you've got an X and a Y passed in. So this is an example of an overloaded constructor. Then you've got a get X and a get Y. Notice there's no way to reset my X and my Y in here once your point object is created. Okay, so it says, which of the following statements creates a point with a coordinate 0, 0? Well, if you do this one creates 0, 0. So A works, a new point, or I works. 2 looks like it works because you just look at it real quick and go 0, 0, and 0 is an X and 0 is a Y, and it gets passed in here, and that would set those to 0, right? Except for the fact that you can't create a new object without the word new. Okay, so that won't work, and then you have to have new point in here for that to work. So don't get tripped up by number 2. The only answer that works is A, which is 1. Okay, which of the following statements is true regarding the point class? I kind of said C, right? Objects are immutable. Immutable means that the variables inside of them aren't able to change. So mutable would be changeable, and that's why you have like a set for your mutator method. I always tell you to use the set method, and that would indicate that you're changing something. You change it by assigning a value to a variable and changing it. But there's no way that these can change here, so because they're just accessor methods which just return information. So C is your answer. What is A? The class won't compile because there are 2 methods. No, you can have overloaded constructors. Variables, they can be changed from outside the class. That's false. I already kind of just mentioned that they're immutable, meaning you can't change them, so this would be true. It's impossible to create point objects with coordinates other than 0, 0. Nope, you could create an object properly if you had the word new in front of it, and you could pass in whatever you want for X and Y as long as they're integers. Giving my X and my Y private visibility was a poor design. No, not necessarily. As a matter of fact, like I probably should be teaching from day 1 making variables private. You should only be able to change your variables through its public methods. I just have never done it because it's just another layer of stuff when you first start, and I probably have to change that in my teaching style in the A-level class. And maybe I'll start doing that. Okay, so 3, suppose we want to add the point class a point class a method with the following signature. So we set X, and this is where you got my X equals X. I've always taught you guys that. So if you pass a variable in, create another variable and assign it to the variable that's passed in. So your answer there would be B. The other ones, they look funky because, well, this is fine, but we wanted to be able to assign it to what's being passed in. This doesn't allow that. This is your assigning X. All of them are funky except B. Okay. 4, consider a method that will calculate and return the sales tax of an item. Which method signature would be most appropriate? Okay, so this is something where you just kind of have to think through it. First of all, it's saying return the sales tax. So return means that you're going to have an accessor method. It's not void. You're going to have to return something, so you can get rid of B and E instantly. Next up, sales tax. Anytime you're dealing with money, you're dealing with decimal places, so get rid of the ints, and that leaves us to D. Okay, so D is the best answer. You pass in the price, you calculate the sales tax, and you return it, and that's going to be a double. So yeah. All right, 5. I think the book says 5 should be C, but let's work through this and I'll show you my logic behind it. So let's say K, we've got K and J. So K, let's say it's equal to 10, and J is equal to 5. Okay. So if K is 10 right here and J is 5, is 10 greater than, so then I can do my K greater than J, and is 10 greater than 5? Yep, so then K becomes 9. Is 9 greater than 5? Yep, becomes 8. Is 8 greater than 5? Yep, becomes 7. Is 7 greater than 5? Yep, becomes 6. Is 6 greater than 5? Yep, becomes 5. Is 5 greater than 5? No. So your while loop is finished there, okay? Then it does, if K is less than 5, so is 5 less than, J, which is 5? No. So it skips that and it returns J. So 5 is less than 5. They're equal to each other, so it returns J. So in my mind, returns J if K and J are equal, K otherwise. Now we got to test the other scenario. We can do K and J, and we've got K equal to 5 and J equal to 10. So then is K greater than J? So is 5 greater than 10? That's not true, so our while loop never runs. And then is K less than J here? Yeah, so now J becomes 5. And then this if-else structure is done, and then it just returns 5 here. So in my mind, this is true. If they're equal, J is returned, otherwise K is returned. C says returns the smaller of J and K. Well, in either case, it's returning 5 here, which are equal, so J or K is not, one or the other is not less than. They're actually equal to each other in both scenarios. So in my mind, E is your answer here because it's returning J if K and J are equal. Otherwise, it returns K. And the other ones it returns. So 5 minus 5 would be 0. 5 minus 5 would be 0. Returns the smaller of J or K. Again, to me, they're returning neither one of them smaller. They're equal, so C doesn't work, and returns the larger of J and K. Neither one of them is larger. So again, 5. I'm pretty sure I got this from book, but I think it is incorrect. So I'm gonna say I like the answer E. Okay. And I'm actually gonna cut this out and put this at the bottom here. So wait a second, that was 5. So I'm gonna say 5 is E. Okay. And then I'm going to pretty it up and do some stuff like that to it. Alright, cool. So let me save that. Alright, so that's that. Okay, now we're on 6. It says consider the following code segment. P is 5, Q is 6. do something, pass in P or Q. That's this right here, and then print P or Q. So P or Q are primitive data types, and it doesn't really matter what is returned here. It's still going to print P or Q. So it prints 5 or 6. So your answer for 6 is A. Okay. 7, consider the following 2 methods. All right, this is a little bit tricky, but not too bad. Okay, what will be the output when method mystery is called? So mystery gets called, and then inside mystery, print stuff gets called. So, just do what you've been doing with making your tables. So x, and that's 8, is x greater than 0? Yes. So then we've got y. So is 8 greater than 0? Yep. So y is 1. So it passes 8 into here. Okay. So then it checks to see is y less than x. So is 1 less than 8? Yep. And then it does a s.o.p, and it prints 1 right there because 1 is less than 8, so it prints 1, and then it does a y times equals 2, and then it does a y equals x divided by 2. Okay, so y times equals 2 is 2, so our new value for y is 2 right here. Okay, and then is 8 divided by 2, is that equal to 2? Nope. So it doesn't return this, it skips it. Right, so it goes back up. Y is 2. Is 2 less than 8? Yep. So then you've got your print statement. So 1 originally printed, so now we're just printing this next to it. So it would be a 1 and then a 2 because y is 2. And then it does 2 times 2 is 4. Okay. And then is 4 equal to 8 divided by 2? That's true. Okay. So then it returns back to here. Okay. So this while loop is done because it hit return and it goes back to here. Now nothing is returned, so it just comes back to here. And then it does 8 divided by equals 2, which makes, it does what? X divided by equals 2, and that is 4 basically. All right, so which is basically this. Let's do this. So it's 8 divided by equals 2, and maybe it'd be best if I did this here. Right here, when I write this out, I did something like this. It'd be 1 times 2, and right here it would be 2 times 2. Okay, so 4 is now x, so I put 4 right there. And then it goes back up. Is 4 greater than 0? Yes, so y becomes 1 again. Okay, y becomes 1 again. Is 1 less than 4? So yes, it is. So print again the value of y. So we have 1, 2, and then we add 1 there. And then what do we have? We have y is 2 because you've got 1 times 2. And then we check to see is 2 equal to 4 4 divided by 2, that's true. So we return, what do I got here? We return here, and then we do 4 divided by equals 2. So that's 2. Just, 4 divided by equals 2. And I'll do an arrow there. I kind of like the arrows. So then we go back up. See here. Y is 2. Is 2. Greater than. Is 2 greater than 0? Yep. So y becomes 1 again. Is 2 less than, is 1 less than 2? Yep. So we do 1, 2, 1, which is the previous, and then we just add another 1 to it. And then we've got 2 here again, and 1 times 2. And then is 2 equal to 2 divided by 2? Nope. So that doesn't get hit, but then we go back up. Is 2, so it goes back up here, is 2 less than 2? No, it's not. So this while loop is done again. The method gets done, so we go back here anyway. And then we have x divided by 2, which is, oops, we kind of go right here, that's 1. Because we got 2 divided by 2, and that equals 2 divided by equals 2, and that's 1. So x is now 1. Is 1 greater than 0? Yes. Have I screwed something up? Okay. So y is 1 here, and it's now, I'm sorry, I should have put a 2 there. Is 1, because y is 1, is 1 less than 1? No, it's not. Okay, so 1 is not less than 1, so it's done with this method, and it goes back in, and then it does it does 0, because 1 divided by 2, 1 divided by equals 2 is 0.5, but since it's an int, it changes it to 0, so x becomes 0, and this is done, and then it adds on this to our original print, so it does 1, 2, 1, 1, and then x is equal to x, which is 0. Woo! That's like a whole mouthful right there, okay? So, you might have to go through this multiple times and watch this, because it's definitely not the easiest program, and there's lots of different steps to it, but it prints out 1, 2, 1, 1, x 0. So which one is that? That is 7. I'm going to put this on here at the end, and you guys can try to see if you came up with the same answer. Okay, that's by far the hardest one we've done on this program. But again, I don't think there's any way anybody can do that in their head. It's just way too complicated. So again, if you write it out, you should be okay. So that's 7. 8, what will be produced by this program, mystery? So we got A and B. We print A and B, so we know that 6 and 3 print. So we can narrow our choices down. Either A, D, A or D, because they're the only one. No, and B, cause nope. A, B, and C don't print 6 and 3. Okay, so because the A and B are primitive, they don't change from method to method. All right. So anyway, 6 and 3 print here. So we narrowed our choices down to D and E. So let's go up here. So we do this before these print. We run this method. So X is 6, Y is 3. So we got 6 plus 3, X is 9, and so it's going to print 9 first. So it prints 9 before it does this 6 and 3. So easy answer, because I know it's going to print 9 and then 6 and 3, and this one prints 6, 3, and then 9. So I know that it prints this stuff first before it prints that. So easy answer. But then we've got 9 times 3, which is 27. So you got 9 and 27, 6 and 3. So your answer is E. 9, this is kind of a tricky one. Here are private instance variables for a frog object. So you got the frog objects has the attributes of my species, my age, my weight, my position, am alive. Which of the following methods in the frog class is the best candidate for a static method? Swim, get pond temperature, eat, get weight, die. I guess the best way to think about this, remember we talked about like static variables and static methods earlier. The answer to this is B, and the reason why is because frogs can swim, they can eat, they can get their weight, and they can die. These are all specific to specific frogs, but pond temperature would be kind of outside the scope of any one frog object that's created. So you could create it as a static, because frogs may need to know what the pond temperature is, because you could return the pond temperature. If it's too cold, then they die. But the pond temperature doesn't have anything to do with a specific frog, so you can make that static and that'd be fine. The other ones don't make sense because all the other ones, frogs attributes need to know. Okay, so 10, which statement about parameters is false? The answer to this one is C. 2 overloaded methods in the class must have the same parameter with different names. That's false. So let's say we had set area as our method. Okay, maybe I'll just put it right here. Let's say we had a public void. Oops, I want to make sure this public void set area, and we had the int length and the int height. Okay, and we could also have public void set area, a double length, double height. Okay, don't they have the same variable names? 2 overloaded methods in the same class must have parameters with different names. No, the parameters have the same names. The only thing different are the one's an int and one's a double for both of them. The other ones here, 2 different constructors in a given class have the same number of parameters. Again, you can have the same number of parameters. They would just have different different parameter types. So that's not false. All parameters in Java are passed by their value. I mean, that's not false. I'm passing in the values of them. Static methods have no implicit parameter this. I mean, the word this can work whether it's, you're in this class or whatever, so I don't know what that's, yeah. And A, the scope of the parameters is the method in which they are defined. Yeah, absolutely. Like if you define your variables inside a method, that's where they're defined. They can't be used anywhere else. So that's why you define your methods right after the class, so all the different methods can use those variables. That's a scope issue. So anyway, this is clearly the answer. And then for this one, I've got the answer down here on how to write a toString. So you need to know how to write a toString, okay? So anyway, that's that. Study these, and you'll have another practice quiz for 6-2, and that you'll have a graded quiz for. There'll be like a 6-3 quiz, which will include strings. But 6-1 is mainly just looking at passing parameters, looking at classes, overloading methods, static variables, and static methods. So that's that video.